morning, Get Wrecked for Recovery crew. So it's day number 13 of the Redeeming Eden Cycle Tour. RECT, Get Wrecked for Recovery. A 48-state, 4-year ride for addiction recovery awareness. Each day I pedal for someone who's passed away from addiction, and the whole end goal is to build a rehab. And this is state number 43, Arizona, on Route 66, the Mother Road, Main Street, USA. And it's all to raise awareness that addiction recovery options are available, that you don't have to die in your addiction. There's churches, Celebrate Recoveries, and rescue missions all over the nation, all over the world. They just want to help you, talk to you, and love you if you find yourself battling addiction. So yeah, as I get the conversation started for the day with y'all, I'm going to show you some of the vehicles that are in the area. Today is going to be a pretty cool day, at least I think it will be. I'm going to start out from here at the Wigwam Motel in Holbrook, and I'm going to go over to a pretty cool little A&W gas station for breakfast. It'll be 10 o'clock by the time I get there. It's 9:48 now. And then I head off into the Petrified Forest National Park, where I will ride through the Petrified Forest and check out all the things that it's got. Now, one thing about the Petrified Forest National Park, there is no camping. There's a restaurant at the end of it that I can eat at, but they're only open from like 8 to 5. So you can't cycle, you know, they close their gates after that. So I've got to be out by 5, and then not only that, as soon as I exit the National Park lands, I'm on the Navajo Nation lands. And so no camping is allowed from here almost to New Mexico. It's a pretty good, decent stretch. So I've got to get up to Chambers, which has a gas station that has a Subway. And I talked to Mary on the phone this morning. It says no, you know, tent camping, but it says dry camping is allowed. And I asked her, I said, I'm on a bicycle, and that's about as far as I'll be able to make it in a day. Can I put my tent down? She said, oh yeah, there's a spot next to the vendor area there that you can put your tent down in. So that's where I'm headed. It's going to be about 60 miles total. It'll be about 45 through the park, to and through the park, and then, you know, 15 up the interstate. I'm hoping that the winds kind of stay with me today. It does look a little bit cloudy today. It does look like I'm going to catch some rain at some point in time. But, you know, good thing is I'll be on kind of the national park back roads. So I'm hoping that I won't run into too much issues there. And yeah, I'm really excited about what today has in store. Tomorrow's going to kind of be the same thing. I'm just going to have to leave from Chambers and get into New Mexico before I'll even be able to put, you know, a tent down again. So yeah, again, great stay here at the Wigwam last night. This is one of 7 original Wigwam places. There's only 3 left, one in San Bernardino, one in Cave City, Kentucky, and this one. And so yeah, I've heard, the reason I didn't go to the San Bernardino one is I've heard it's in a rough area, but hey, so is the Sand and Sage apparently. But you know what, God needed to work on my heart there at the Sand and Sage, and I'm glad that he did. So yeah, with all these cars that you've been able to see, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'm all ready to get on the road. So let's go. Love you guys. See you later. Okay, so this is where the route actually departs from Route 66 to go to the Petrified Forest National Park. But I thought this was cool. It reminds me of that Roxy Theater in Forsyth, Montana that I got to see on the Ride to RAGBRAI 2022 tour. Anyway, yeah, just thought that was neat. Let's go. Alright, so I just stay here at the A&W, and the rock shop next door has all kinds of dinosaurs. I thought it was pretty neat. I think this one's my favorite by far. So I guess he's playing fetch, you know, like begging, but he's got another like dino lizard in his mouth. Pretty cool. That's the Rainbow Rock Shop. I was actually talking to the guy at the Wigwam Motel that was doing some of the work on some of the wigwams, which those are teepees too. Those are not actually wigwams, if I'm correct. I don't know. Drop a comment if that's right. I don't think those are wigwams. Anyway, I was talking to the guy, and he said, I've got to go to Jim Gray's rock shop which is going to be down here on the left, and then I have to go to the bathroom. But I have to check it out. I don't know if it's something I'm going to be able to film for you guys, but I'm going to go check it out, and hopefully I can. I hope that it's like, you know, innocent and fun. So either way, I'll check that out and show you guys in just a little bit. Here goes nothing. All right, so I was rolling down the road and saw wind turbine blades. These things are just so big. I mean, look at the size of that 18-wheeler compared to those blades. It's got me thinking about Liam. It's also got me thinking about Michelle Snyder. So, you know, Michelle has a huge fear of these things when they're spinning in the air. Do they bother you when they're just on the ground like this? I think it would be funny. So anyway, the rock shop's right across the road. I'm headed there. And that's also the road into the park. So let's go. All right, so I rolled in here to Jim Gray's, and it was quite a cool place. They had so many different rocks, so many different things. I'll continue to just kind of show some of that as I get back out on the road here in just a minute. But yeah, it was just beautiful. There were some of those pieces of trees that were, you know, $15,000. One of them is even called Jenny's Log, and I think it was just one of the most beautiful logs that was in there. You could see like the bark, and you could see the polished surfaces. The bathroom was super cool, as I was told that it would be. It had like spiders and you know, just pinned bugs that had been collected all over the walls. I made sure there was nobody in there before I started filming. But yeah, like it was crazy the amount of stuff that they had in that bathroom. But yeah, the rest of the shop has got stuff everywhere, all kinds of petrified wood all out along the yards. There's whole little forests of it, it feels like. And one thing about the Petrified Forest National Park, you are not allowed to take anything with you. You have to leave everything there. So the only way that you can obtain petrified wood is to come to a rock shop that already has purchased some or already has found some before there were any laws for that. Yeah, I'm gonna get back on the road and you'll see more of that right about now. Alright, so I think this is really cool. 3:16, which I love that verse. God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. But I think it's really cool that it's set here next to this blowing dust area sign. And I just watched a whirlwind of dust go by in this exact same spot. And it just reminds me that, like, the promise of God's love for us doesn't include like the promise that we're not going to have these moments, you know, these dusty, dry, desert road moments in our lives. You know, they're necessary, really. It's something that we need to experience so that we can know, even when it feels like He's not there, that God loves us, you know. It's hard. Those are the moments that are the hardest, when it feels like He's so far away. But at the same time, it's the reflection on those moments when you realize all the places where He was there, where it really it just does something for your heart. It strengthens you, you know, and He knows that. It's like with your kids. You wouldn't just let them experience, you know, go down all the wrong paths and do all the wrong things and do all the bad. There's times in your life you have to discipline them. You have to, you know, teach them and correct them. And those times hurt for them and they hurt for you as a parent. But in the long run, it produces a better character. It hurts, you know, but it's necessary. So yeah, I love this. I love this picture probably more than anything else I've come across, because it's just so true. Even when the dust is blowing, His love is still there. Now, I don't care who you are, that is funny right there. It's been there so long that the rubber is down into the asphalt. That's pretty cool. Well, here it is, Petrified Forest National Park. I think I got about 28 miles to go. It really looks a lot like the Badlands, the South Dakota Badlands that Liam and I rode through from here, with just the way the hills are and everything. Anyway, we got 28 miles to go. It's 2 o'clock, so I pretty much got to hoof it to get out of the other gate by 5. Considering it's pretty hilly terrain. So I'm going to stop at the things I can stop at, but I do need to keep on pushing through. So you'll see more of that right about now. Yeah, Liam, buddy, this whole day's reminding me of you, from wind turbine blades to now these types of views. And the climbs. The climbs are definitely back. Anyway, yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going through the Petrified Forest. There's actually a rainbow over a mountain over here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. And then from there, I'm headed into the painted desert, so there's more to come. It's just slow but steady going. Here goes nothing. Alright, so I came up here to kind of get out of the inclement weather. The wind and rain blew in so hard. I was on the phone with Evan Corbiere. We've had so many good conversations this ride. But yeah, like while I was on the phone with him, my bike was leaning like this. My beard was just ripping off to the side, this way. The wind's still up. But I wanted to stop here, number one, to get under this metal roof if I needed to. It does not doesn't stop the rain from coming through, but I'm sure it would stop the lightning bolt. This is one of the areas. There's just logs all over the place. Giant trees. They are. Let's step out here. But yeah, so I was doing some reading, and they say that these petrified forests were caused by like a massive covering of mud and silt and stuff over the forest, like before the trees had time to die or dissolve or decay. And so what ends up happening is, since they're under the earth, the minerals and the water and the ground table, as the cells of the tree die, they suck in those minerals, and those minerals end up becoming rock. So that's how these actual trees, they're not the old tree at all, it's a stump. Anyway, I'm going to get back up here to this thing, and I've got to keep riding here in a minute, but I'm going to give it the best shot I got. Here goes nothing. Alright, well, you guys are not going to believe this. So I was there at the Crystal Forest. Lightning started popping everywhere. I kind of walked back up under a pavilion, and I got to talking with Brian here. And we were just standing there for a little bit, and then one of the lightning bolts got really close. And when it got close, he was like, I'm going to my truck. And I was like, do you mind if I go to your truck? And he was like, sure. So tell him what happened after that.
So I'd been driving through light rainstorms that just kind of passed really quickly for several hours now. So I just assumed that was going to happen then. And but like Adam said, it just started really coming down. Ironically enough, I had an empty spot in my bike rack because I'm only carrying one bike. We both ride Surleys. There was a lot of weird little coincidences that were interesting. So we just hit the road, and now I'm dropping him off at his place for the evening.
Yeah, so I was going to stay there at the rest area, and he had offered to take me to the travel stop, the rest area, to kind of get, away from this weather. I'm shaking. I'm so cold from the wetness. But when I got to looking, this hotel ended up being perfect, and it gets me right where I need to be to make it through the Indian reservation tomorrow. So Brian, thank you so much for your graciousness and your hospitality, and man, I don't even know it, the wildness of the coincidences and miracles that had to take place for, you had an open spot on your bike rack.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And I think that's what started our conversation too. I said, is that your rig?
Yeah. So
anyway, cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. Yeah.
Nice to meet you, and safe travels to you.
Likewise. Thank you so much, Brian. Alright, so I'm in, I'm settled, I'm out of the rain, I have warmed up. I've got the heater on. It was cold rain. When I was on the phone with Evan, I had to put my rain jacket on, and I was telling him, I am so cold. This rain is just frigid. And it's the higher elevation rains. I experienced that in Kremlin, Colorado, and ended up standing next to a furnace at the campground that I stayed at until I warmed up. But kind of same thing. So I'm going to put some video up of the things that we did get to see while we were riding of the Petrified Forest National Park and the Painted Desert. I'm definitely going to go back with the family, probably when we come back to do the North Rim of the Grand Canyon next year to finish the ride into Monument Valley. But it was just stunning. I wish that it wouldn't have rained. I kind of had a fear all day. I was into the wind for those first 18 miles. It took me over 3 hours just to pedal those 18 miles. And so I was kind of a little bit trepidatious even getting to the national park. I asked the lady at the booth, I was like, what do I do if there's lightning and, rain and I can't get out by 5? She said, well, we're not closing until 6:30 tonight, which is kind of sunset at this time. And I said, well, what if it's longer than that? She said, well, our rule is, you know, like, you don't need to be going to see anything else. You need to be by 6:30 getting in your car or riding your bike, you know, not stopping anywhere else and making your way out. It was a beautiful ride for sure, but I think the coolest thing was the amount of miracles that it took and coincidences. It was wild for Brian and I to even meet. Like, he wasn't going to stop at the Crystal Forest. He passed the first entrance, and he thought to himself, you know what? I'm never going to be back here again, or it's going to be a long time before I do. I'll go check it out, even though it's raining. So he pulls in the second entrance and parks. He sees my Surly there, and I'm up there, you know, walking around. We're the only two people up there, standing under that metal pavilion, you know, just kind of out of the lightning. We're chatting about the Surly, like that's one of the things he asked. He said, you know, is that your rig? And I was like, it is. And so, you know, I was able to tell him about the YouTube channel, tell him about Redeeming Eden, was just kind of telling him how I was IV cocaine and opiates and how the gospel transformed my life. And then the lightning just started, you know, getting really close to us. And we're the tallest thing out there. There's nothing else out there. And so he's like, hey man, I'm going to my truck. And I was like, do you mind if I join? He was like, no, come on. So we run down there, and while we're sitting in the truck, I asked him, I said, where are you going from here? He was like, Albuquerque. And I was like, that's the same way I'm going. There's a travel stop, a rest stop that I can camp at. You know, can you take me there? He's like, sure, I got an open spot on the bike rack. We'll load it up. So we put all the stuff in the back of the truck. We put the bike on the bike rack. And we headed out, and we had a great conversation on the way here. So many crazy cool things. His testimony is incredible. But like, you know, he's seen the crazy coincidences, and so when it all lined up, he's like, yeah, it was really neat. But I was going to go to the travel stop, and I would have had to set my tent up in the rain and be cold. So I looked on the map, and this was 7.5 more miles. Tomorrow was going to be a 52-mile day, all uphill, from Chambers to, from that rest stop to Gallup, New Mexico. And this puts me only having to do 45 tomorrow and still make the miles that I need. And it's got a restaurant here. I was able to eat an incredible fry bread Navajo burger. The fry bread was so soft, like I've never experienced a bread like that. It was like a pancake but fluffy. But free breakfast in the morning, and yeah, a much easier bike ride. You know, 7 miles less of climbing. So I am so thankful for Brian. Thank you so much, Brian. What a godsend. It was so cool. I will never forget this day as long as I live. Like, that was, I mean, what are the chances that the one person with you in a rainstorm in the national park has an empty bike rack slot and also rides a Surly? And, you know, it's just, it's too much. It's too much. It just shows me, you know, like, even riding into the storm, God's there. God is there in the middle of the storm. He is there to rescue you in the middle of the storm. You just got to trust him and have faith. You know, those dusty road areas, his love is still there. So, that's the end of the video for the day. If you know anyone who's passed away from addiction in any form or fashion, please drop their name in the comments or find me through the POPL link in the description. And I would love to ride for your person and celebrate their life with you for a day. That POPL link has got all the Redeeming Eden social, the ways you can donate, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, and the International Gospel Outreach nonprofit link. Yeah, thank you so much, Get Wrecked for Recovery crew, every one of you that's liking every video, commenting on every video, sharing every video, and those of you that are subscribed to the YouTube channel. I am so thankful. Words cannot express how thankful I am for you that view the channel, as much as those of you who have participated in helping me get down the road, you know, on these tours like Brian today. I love each and every one of you, and I am so thankful. Thank you. So yeah, from here at Chambers, Arizona, state number 43, on Navajo Indian Reservation land, with a 45-mile ride through Navajo Indian Reservation land tomorrow. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. I'll see you later. Have a good night.